Hi guys, I'm back. I'm back, baby. Wow. Okay, but yeah. Um, man, it's like 1 a.m. in the morning right now. Let me just make this extremely quick. But first, let me give you guys a live update. So, I've been wearing these for voluminous hair, and my friend been putting me on some sea salt spray shit, bro. But basically, yeah, I grew out my hair, and let's just say I don't feel the best about it. But you know what has to be done, bro. Gotta make some of my hair potential, bro. Yeah, but other than that, it's like yeah, and like now I this fucking listen two. Now this wisdom tooth that is making me like get my jaw to the right. So, if you see anything wrong with my face, just ignore it. It's just my wisdom tooth. Yeah, but basically, the point of this video today is to educate you guys. Is to educate on why you should do it for the plot. Doing it for the plot, right? Some people will say it's the stupidest thing ever. But let me tell you why it's exactly the smartest thing ever for directionless individuals, like probably you and me if you're even watching this video. So, why should you do it for the plot? Let me recount my personal experience and try to give you an insight into what it really is like doing it for the plot. Yeah. So, my experience. Let's give the backstory first. All right. The backstory behind it was I was in Rayong, uh, for an OVIA trip, and then we had prepared like months for this. Right. We had prepared like several lessons, several rehearsals, several revamps of the slides and everything. And then halfway through the trip, the teachers called us each into separate corners to do our own reflection and to have a mini chat with us. So I was like, why all of a sudden a mini chat? And then, but let's just say my teacher had a really unique perspective, because what he said was, he didn't say that. My gum is being bitten. Yeah, but my cheeks were being bitten. What the fuck? Wait, no, he didn't say that. But yeah, he said that all these lessons that you're planning for all these kids, they don't matter. I was like, what the fuck? So we went through so many revamps, we spent so much time doing all this, only for you to say it doesn't matter? But basically what he was trying to drive at was that, like, the point of the trip wasn't to, like, basically get your job done and leave, but it was more for character development and personal development. I was like, that's so self-centered. And then, ironically enough, on the next topic, he said, for character development, you should be less self-centered. That's really funny. But yeah, and I was very shocked by that response in general, because it really was a curveball. Because first you talk about, being more self-centered, which is to literally think about this trip as like character development for your personal development. Alright. First you talk about the trip in that way. Secondly, now you're telling me that I should be less self-centered and care more about others. And then when I really sit down and thought about it, it could have been worded better, but when I sit down and thought about it, I knew what he was saying, which was that this trip is for character development, and it's to really see things outside of yourself. I mean, we didn't get exposed to like severe poverty, and we didn't get exposed to like really terrible conditions. Yeah, using the toilet to shower, that's pretty gross, but it wasn't the worst. Yeah, because to be very honest, the living conditions we were in were pretty hygienic, other than the toilet. But let's forsake that and let's try not to discuss it. Yeah, I really need to get his hair out of the way. But yeah, and it was really to see beyond yourself, and it's to see and learn from how these Thai people treated us with so much hospitality, and how we can extend that same kind of genuinity into our own community. And post trip, my friend actually did a lot of volunteer work. I mean, he was already associated with an organization, he was already quite involved with the local community, so it's easier for him to do it. But I felt that I had no excuse to not get into volunteering work as well. And that's when my do it for the plot began. Do it for the plot is so damn beneficial, and it really made me it really gave me so much character development this year, man. Like, because from year 4 I was so sick of doing CCA work. I didn't want to try anything new anymore. I just wanted to zone down, focus on myself and my cats. You know, fair thing, fair thing. I did that in year 5, didn't work. So I felt that I needed to live life more holistically when I really evaluated my life in year 5. And this was the turning point. I really evaluated my life in year 5. I was like, I spent so much time studying. I still ain't getting the results. I spent so much time like keeping to myself and blocking off so many people that could have been really good friends with me. Why am I doing this? Like, genuinely, does it bring joy in me? Like, I did this all under the disguise of self-discipline while neglecting my social health and my need for social connection. And that was so stupid, like thinking about it in retrospect. But you know, every guy will have a red pill phase, and every guy will have to go through a red pill phase. So I don't blame any guy for, you know, going through a red pill phase. Yeah, and I feel that it's part and parcel of life. It's part and parcel of getting a buzz cut and to basically ignore your prettiness, your aesthetics, your skincare, let everything go to shit and just focus on your body. Everyone will have that phase, man. And it's just an inevitable part of life. But basically we're sidetracking. Yeah, and I was like, you know what, let's do it for the plot. Let's do more volunteering work and just jump into this whole thing. I did not know where the fuck to begin. So I just started with a youth call networking event. And I went in having like zero expectations. I was like, okay, let's just make as many friends as possible and talk to as many people as possible. And I was sort of interested in setting up my own VIA as well. And I was wondering how I could connect / volunteer with youth call, and how I could seek opportunities from them and sort of get them as like my monetary / financial support in this / like basically have a legal / substantial so many slashes legal like substantiation for this whole project so that I could really make it fly in school. And I asked them about it, and they were like, you know, you can contact us, we can collaborate with you, but we won't substantiate your project. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, but anyways, I didn't get that project started. But the good thing is I did meet a lot of new people in the networking event. And while the networking event itself wasn't that life-changing, it was a start to commencing an upward spiral, to really like begin my new spiral of like, I don't give a shit, let's just do it for the plot. And I did make a few mistakes here and there. Let me tell you another one of my mistakes that I made before I go on to the successes. So one of those mistakes I made was contacting my crush, who I had a crush on like 1 year back, and after 1 year just contacting her after removing her from my Insta, which is like really stupid. But I did it anyways, and we talked a bit. And let's just say it didn't go well because I kept asking her out and it didn't go well. Yeah, and I had this Taylor Swift phase for the entire year, and I pretty much cut it out now. So that's just kidding. But basically that wasn't exactly successful, but it did teach me one thing, and it did open me up one thing, open another aspect of myself again. You know, not all lessons are like forsaken. Not everything that you don't directly gain a tangible effect or benefit from is forsaken. Because what you realize is it is character development, and it frames your mind, it changes your frame of mind to view things in very different ways, to view things in a much more third eye perspective. You get this bird's eye view, and you see and evaluate your mistakes, and then you start to realize how much better you could have become. And then you apply that to your future model, you apply that model to your future self to better yourself. So I always feel that there's always something to be learned from something that God ordained, something to be put in your life for you to learn something out of it. For me, what I learned out of that was that, you know, if things are better left untouched, let's just leave them untouched. Because, you know, let's just say I completely have no chance of contacting her right now, and I did have some pretty smooth entries, I did have some pretty smooth text entries, but let's just say you can't hide your true intentions. Like when I desperately asked her out, it showed my true intentions, that I just wanted to, you know, see her and wanted I had romantic intentions with her. So that didn't really work, but it's okay. It got me on my hairstyling journey, and now my hair is bothering me every day. Just kidding. But yeah, it's kind of fun to like experience and like play with your hair a bit. I'm not telling girls to do that. Wait, whatever. Wait, that sounded wrong. Whatever. Yeah, girls do it. Whatever. Boys do it too. And it got me to experiment with different hairstyles. Obviously not like this, but I'm gonna gel it up and style it up. Yeah, it's pretty fun. But let me get to the real crux of it, which was that for the first time in my life, I actually volunteered more with the school. I actually got more involved with school activities. I actually took up opportunities from CCA to be the speaker for an event, for a World Water Day event comprising like people from 9 different schools to come and literally like it was World Water Day, and my school had a symposium for World Water Day, and we invited people from like so many different schools to come, and it was primary school, so if you made an error it would be even more apparent. I mean, of course, youngsters like us are going to be more attentive to all these little mistakes, but kids like them are gonna be brutally honest, and they're gonna notice it straight away, and they're gonna have a fast reaction. They're gonna have a very big reaction basically on the spot. But yeah, I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it for the plot. And throughout all those weeks of like texting her, throughout all those weeks of taking up opportunities from CCAs, which I'm really grateful for, by the way, because my teacher approved it in my SGC, and I'm not trying to sound like transactional or like overly practical and using people for things, but it did pay out in the end. I'm just trying to highlight the result to you, that it did pay out in the end, and it did pay off into something meaningful. And beyond that, like those first few weeks of grinding, it really challenged myself, and it just made me overall more happy to be part of the school, to sort of leave a legacy behind. Because can you imagine 6 years in your school, you haven't really been involved in CCA, you've always been a participant, you never really represented the school. Okay, I did, but I wasn't really known out there, even as a representative of a sports CCA, of swimming, right? I didn't train in my team, I didn't have that sense of camaraderie, I never had school pride, and I just sat down with myself and I was like, man, I gotta leave something behind, bro. I gotta be a part of something. And I was like, you know what? In my own capacity, I'm not gonna go for MUN, because I know it's a little too late to sign up for MUN, and I'll have too much prep work to do. It is a prestigious event, but I would rather not concern myself with that. Set realistic goals for myself to really venture myself into, and things that I know that I won't procrastinate, I would want to sign up for that. So I signed up for those things. Pre-USAM was last year, and I hadn't been in that mindset yet, so I didn't. And then I signed up for more things within my own capacity, within my CCA, within what I could sign up for now, and I signed up for NYLE. It's definitely not as much as those high achievers who sign up for this month and that month, who are chairs, who are delegates, who won Best Position Paper award. It's not as prestigious as those things, but what I am just proud of myself for doing, gotta give myself a pat on the back for this, is stepping out of my comfort zone and being more involved with school stuff, and yeah, running for class com. Even the role that I ran for, I'm not saying it's insignificant, but compared to a class chair, it's not as much responsibilities, but like on paper it's actually a lot of responsibilities. Like I had to prepare lessons and stuff. Let's just say I didn't prepare the lessons to the best of my ability as well, which made me like kind of guilty. But you know what? I did it. I fucking did it. I stepped out of my comfort zone. I went for leadership position for once. Be it out of desperation or whatever, I did it. I did it for the plot. So doing it for the plot, and beyond just like fucking around in your life and finding out about stuff, which basically means taking a chill pill, exploring different stuff, seizing opportunities. Beyond that, what is the philosophy of, I may sound like I'm going mad right now, as you can see my hair is also going mad at me, but what is the philosophy of taking that step, and taking that jump when you least expect it, and when you have the most amount of fear and you can't eliminate the fear, just take the fucking jump. What is the whole philosophy of that about? It's also about that desperate need to improve your life, that desperate desire to want to achieve more, that never wanting to be in the same place again, you know? And it starts with small things like this. You won't notice it, but it starts with small things like this. And that whole self-improvement shit, like, if you aren't going to put yourself out there in front of other people and you're just going to be like, oh, grind in my own space, do the work that I'm supposed to do quietly by myself there, you don't fucking level up by interacting with more people. And I have mentioned that in my previous video before. You aren't going to better yourself. And I'm not trying to say that I did some magnanimous thing by stepping out of my comfort zone, but I am trying to say that it can do things for your life. It can change, it can reorientate the course, the perspective of life that you have, you know, the perspective towards life that you have. Yeah, it's just that philosophy of never quitting, never giving up on yourself, never thinking like, oh, I'm too whatever quality to do this, I'm too whatever quality to do that. Every year you try new stuff, no matter how small, you know. And it's a bit of a rant at this point, but I'm just glad I took those opportunities. I met new people, you know. I proved to the teachers what I'm capable of to take up leadership positions in school, outside of school. Outside of school? Not really, but more like in school, within my CCA, to just leave a legacy behind, to just not waste my time in school, to seize more out of my Dominion experience, you know. Because I was never a sports leader, I was never like exco, I was never chairman of my CCA. But I realized that, you know, to really materialize all these things, to materialize my efforts and really show it in the way that and really leave a legacy behind, I had to get out there and do more stuff. Like, sure, it would be more hard work, but I realized that, especially in St. John's, I realized that a lot of the work I did was getting unnoticed. Yeah, sure, my juniors would think, oh, you're just one of the many instructors who made it possible for us to have such a good and productive training and for us to learn so many things. But what am I? I'm just an expendable tool. So I was sick and tired of that. That is my main reason for doing it for the plot, because I wanted to cover up this sense of insecurity within myself. So I was like, just fucking do it for the plot. So I went on this whole like exploration journey, and I didn't want to label it as exploration. I wanted to sort of exude this veneer of confidence, of not giving a shit, of, you know, being very like self-assured in what I was doing. So I just said, do it for the plot, as a joke to my friends, and I really bought into that. And now I realized, man, no, I was doing it to better myself, but also doing it for the plot, right? It also absolves yourself of a certain level of responsibility, such that you don't feel as afraid to step into these spaces and to do more of these things that you've always wanted to try. It's really doing it for the plot. It's writing your own story. It's crafting out your own story without you having too much pressure to turn it into a bestseller or like a fan favorite. Who's looking at you? No one, other than you rereading your own book and your reflections of life. Yeah, this video has gone a bit too philosophical, but this is my overall rant for like what has happened in the year. As many stupid things as I've done, I've also picked up on a lot of new things and stepped up on new leadership positions. And I sound like a nerd right now for saying all this, but you know, I'm glad I did all this. I'm glad that I don't let my 6 years of Dunmanian, of being a student in my school, I didn't let it go to waste. That's the most important thing. Yeah. And now mainly it's back to like sort of burrowing and retreating back into my reclusive hole again, and to just you know, not bother too much about others' opinions, not really like inviting new drama or new people into my life, and just focusing on myself again because it's the season to freaking grind. Yeah. Um, I'm not sure if I'll do a part 2 on this, but you guys probably won't see me for a while until like the stress really gets to me and I really want to air some things out. I hope you have learned a thing or two from this video, man. I really hope that this video has benefited you in some way. And yeah, best of luck with whatever endeavors that you have. As usual, the usual outro, man. Best of luck with whatever endeavors that you had, or have, or are intending to have, or intending to achieve. And just, as always, I think this is a new tagline. As always, do it for the plot.